Since I take upon myself 25 years ago, quarter of century, accountability, responsibility, responsibility would be more correctly way to say. SAMBO development in Australia, Oceania. I have to explain what SAMBO means. Why I take it upon myself, because nobody was interested in it, and because I greatly value SAMBO principles. Uh, I see as a lifestyle and necessity to practice it and promote it. Okay, SAMBO. SAMBO is a self-defense without weapons. That is exactly what it means. It's an abbreviation, acronym. SAMBO, SAM, self, or B, self-defense, BO, without weapons, SAMBO. It was generated, would be say correctly, was featured in the Soviet Union originally as freestyle wrestling. So originally SAMBO was called freestyle wrestling, and was a jacket form of wrestling based on the multiple native activities across the region, which is Soviet Union controlled territory. We're talking about Far East, from Vladivostok to Moldova, which was included in the Soviet Union, and the Baltic states, Ukraine, Caucasian states, big former Persian Empire territory, and everywhere in that areas, people always practice the self-defense, self-protection activity, which was based on wrestling. So, because when people fight in the past, wrestling would be primary form of interaction, combat. And that is why we see in Mongolia, in the other related region, such as Buryatia and Tuva, a lot of form of wrestling when people have a minimum clothes. They have shirts, like panties and long sleeve, which allowed to be grabbed. So when the people interact, they still have something to hold on to. Same time, in the other areas of Soviet Union and related territory, in the ancient time, especially in the Hellenic world, people wrestle naked, and more even use the oil, what make them hard to grab. So, and all that activities was recorded to degree and to understand skill by different experts. Skill was selected and practiced in a fair challenge situation, and for that reason they choose to identify freestyle wrestling as a primary form of practice in the Soviet Union. Again, as we're talking about freestyle wrestling, which is today called Sambo wrestling. And freestyle wrestling, which is Olympic wrestling, wasn't practiced widely in the Soviet Union at that time. So first participant in Olympic freestyle wrestling from Soviet Union take part in Olympic Games already after World War II. It's just historical data for people to understand what we're talking about and how much it's integrated. So we're talking about Olympics 1952, when first Olympians from Soviet Union was taking part in Olympic wrestling with leg hold allowed, and so many of them was from this freestyle wrestling with the jackets, which do not mixed up, that called SAMBO wrestling. Same time for special forces, military, police was cultivated combat sambo, which is also utilized strikes and other form of application, not uh, practiced, which was not practiced in a wrestling format. So we're talking about very short period of time between 52 to 64, when in Japan Olympics judo was exhibit, and that period of time sambo wrestling was connected to Olympic wrestling and join International Wrestling Federation as additional form of wrestling. So sambo wrestling was included in International Olympic Wrestling Federation (FILA) until 1984. So as we can see, we're talking about period more than 2 decades. And in middle of 1980s, sambo pulled itself out. I don't know how it happened. It's worth it to discuss it. How it happened. Historically, I missed the data. How sambo was moved out of FILA, which is very unusual. And it's worth it to have a proper research about it. So, and in Soviet Union, judo was a subdivision of sambo. And we have a unique situation technically in Soviet Union. Judo was a subdivision of International Wrestling Federation. That is how globalistic and composite it was. And judo was respected nothing more but form of gi wrestling with a specific confusing scoring system, which is restricting some application to be used. Basically, why sambo is more efficient than judo? Because score valuation of performance valuation is related to reality more than it is in the judo. So it's a scientifically based approach. So, and because sambo is a good form of self-defense practice, that's what we promote as a primary sambo value globally. One more time to recap. Sambo is an abbreviation for self-defense without weapons, and as a form of the challenge, we have a sambo wrestling and a combat sambo. Why form of challenge is important? Because it's a give opportunity people to identify their skill and see how good they are. Same like we go to fight in a cage to see how much we improved and what wrong with us. So it's just a form of testing. And that way, I respect the cage fighting as form of the sambo. because it's a maximum reality with a minimum rules, which is a sambo appeal for. Secondly, originally sambo wrestling was called not sambo wrestling but freestyle wrestling and became called sambo wrestling only after World War II. A combat sambo was initially for civil defense only. Privileged knowledge and education for army units, police, and special forces. And most time it was a boxing and wrestling composition. Until 1984, Sambo was part of International Olympic Wrestling Federation. And after Soviet Union fall, there was a conflict between West and East, and many federation globally was a misunderstanding. And in 1999, we brought Sambo to Australia in Oceania as a part of a delegation from International Sambo Federation. And since we promoted it in Oceania, I'm as a secretary. So, and now I respect myself as a duty secretary for International Sambo Federation for simple reason that is a Russian KGB, Putin's friend, hijacked International Sambo Federation and destroyed the Sambo primary value, turning it a political instrument to promote Russian superiority globally and try to scam people to achieve their primary goal regarding to promote Russian ideology around the world. From the day one when I interact with people in Australia, I say we do not promote Sambo as a Russian martial arts. We don't promote Sambo as martial arts at all. We promote as a science of self-defense, and that is the only way it should be presented to people. And the Sambo event is a promotional event, could have different formats, and it's all discussable how we may organize them. But in the late 2010s, so basically second half of first decade of millennia, we noticed the tendency that the Russian tried to hijack International Sambo Federation, and I record many cases and was serve as a guardian to prevent it happens. However, finally in 2013, Russian mafia, so-called, but in reality is the Russian government, KGB, ex-communist people who control all economical ties, choose to hijack International Sambo, destroy global development, create new organization, infiltrate their active agent everywhere. And now we struggle with that because it's full of scamming, fraudulent activities, and empowered by incompetent people who have no relationship to quality self-defense education, quality sample education. And please stay tuned. We would be unroll it in a more accurate details.